Today, I bring you another 2021 NFL mock draft, but not my own. We're going to take a look at Draft Network's Kyle Krabs, his mock draft. He just released it on Monday. And yeah, we're going to take a gander, and I'm going to mock the mock, essentially. We're going to kind of analyze it, see what my opinions are on it. And I suggest checking out Kyle Krabs over at Draft Network. He actually does some really good work. He's one of the guys I like to look at his analysis on guys, his evaluations. Real smart, bright guy. But yeah, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. Yeah, do that. Subscribe. It literally costs you nothing. Just click the little red button, and then you can leave me whenever you like. But let's be honest, you ain't leaving. You're here to stay. You're here for the long ride. You here till the end. I know you are. But thumbs up, it really helps the video out. Check me out on the Flick Sports app. The link to that is in the description below. All you have, I mean, shoot, it's literally sports Discord where I'm just in there chatting with some of the fans of the channel, some of the subs. They're some bright guys too, dude. So we're always talking draft prospects and such. So go do that. It's a ton of fun. I'm trying to get to 100. Help me get there. Check out FTFN, Fan to Fan Network, baby. We do a lot of good work on that website. We do a lot of good work in general. We pushing out videos. Check out their Twitch. Constantly pushing out content for you guys. So do that. But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's dive into Kyle Krabs, his NFL mock draft. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. So yeah, first off, man, Jets, they go Trevor Lawrence. That kind of it makes sense. It makes too much sense. Obvious, you know. Lawrence, he is the undisputed #1 prospect currently in this draft class. I really don't see that changing. Fields is having a great year, but I just don't see that changing. They're going to move on from Sam Darnold. They'll be lucky to get a win this year. So I think we all could agree on that. Next, he has the Jaguars going with Justin Fields. Kind of makes sense as well. I mean, Gardner Minshew unfortunately doesn't look like the answer. He was just a 6th-round pick. So they go ahead, they get their franchise quarterback. I mean, we kind of felt it at the beginning of the year, even last season when they just decided not to surround him with weapons through free agency. I think he's done a great job, but I think he's just a good bridge quarterback at this point. They even got Ludden starting right now, who actually looks pretty solid in his own right. So on to the next pick. He has the Cowboys going Penei Sewell out of Oregon. This makes too much sense with Tyron Smith. I mean, he's getting older in years. And that offensive line's had a ton of injuries. Sewell is probably the safest prospect in this draft class. He is what you would call a generation talent at the tackle position. So yeah, they're gonna. I would mock this. And then the Washington football team, they go Zach Wilson, and this here, I believe it. I think having Alex Smith back and looking really good buys them some time. If they don't want to, they don't have to necessarily draft a quarterback this in this draft. But if they're really sold on Zach Wilson, he doesn't have to start immediately. I mean, he's looked good. He can make all the throws in the NFL. Like, he's shown he can make NFL throws this season. He can make special throws. He's got the arm talent. So a year under Alex Smith, I think that'd be pretty awesome. And unfortunately, Smith would end up grooming the guy that will eventually replace him, just like with Mahomes. So they land their future. I have no qualms with this pick. But now we got the Chargers on the clock. He goes Gregory Rousseau out of Miami, the edge. He opted out this season. So them going edge, I think, kind of makes sense with Ingram's contract expiring. He actually mentions that in the in his article. And I think Rousseau would be a good opposite to Joey Bosa, but him deciding to opt out, we didn't really, we know he's got the physical upside, great frame, great length, but he needed development. He needed to show he could perform a flurry of pass rush moves. Just that's what this season needed to be. I get, he opted out for his family and such. So, I got no qualms about that. It's just hard for me to put him at 1 when a guy with the athletic and physical upside of Kwity Paye, who came back this season, and now he showed a bevy of pass rush moves. He's shown development and technique and such. He's doing everything that I would have loved to see from Russo. So I might go Kwity Paye. Russo might be a better fit, but I think I'd still go Kwity Paye here. But that's neither here or there. Next, we got the Dolphins on the clock. This is Houston's pick. They go Jaylen Waddle. I'm cool with that. You could say Micah Parsons here would be awesome too. Again, I got no problem with that either. But Waddle's just such a great fit. He has chemistry, history with Tua. They really could use a slot receiver. I mean, Waddle, he doesn't have too much experience on the outside. Slot's kind of his bread and butter. I mean, match him up. You got Preston Williams on the outside with Devontae Parker. So you got Waddle. You're just giving Tua weapons. I mean, again, I got no problems with that pick. And then we go to the Bengals. He goes Jamar Chase. I mean, hey, this is a great value pick at 7. Jamar Chase still being around, I think totally makes sense if they move on from AJ Green. They got T. Higgins. You could put Chase on the opposite side. Tyler Boyd's actually one of the better, probably a top 5 slot receiver in the game. Chase, he has history with Burrow. I mean, yeah, I definitely would consider offensive lineman here, offensive tackle. But, I get it. It's great value here if you want. This is actually a very good tackle class. You go in the 2nd round. So I don't mind it. I don't mind it that much. And then we have the Giants. They go Micah Parsons. Great value. I got no problem with that. Parsons, athletic freak. He's actually one of the better pass rushing linebackers. They could really use some pass rush there in New York. And he mentions here that they could maybe go for a guy like Zach Wilson or Trey Lance. So you can even make a argument for Kyle Trask, who's just popping off. But I think if you're the Giants, if you can't get Fields or Lawrence, then Jones, he looked good last week, and try to build around him. Give him one more year. Next year's quarterback class the 2022 quarterback class looks pretty impressive in its own right. If you haven't checked out my 2022 NFL mock draft, go check that out. I go over actually, I think there's like 6 quarterbacks I have going in the 1st round. But Micah Parsons, great. It's great value. Helps the defense out. And then the Panthers go Patrick Surtain out of Alabama. This guy, he's been the most dominant corner in football. You can make an argument this could be also Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, but he decided to opt out. Surtain, there'll be big questions about his speed. I still think he could be maybe a low 4.5 guy, maybe even in the high 4.4s, which should help quell some of those concerns. But he has been dominant. He's one of the best deep ball defenders in all of college football. And I mean, the corner position's been extremely weak for the Panthers. And you could mention quarterback here, but I think they could get by with Teddy Bridgewater. I know he just got hurt, but I mean, Teddy, he was pretty solid for that offense. But yeah, man, their secondary has been a hot mess. Like, their most consistent corner has been Horn Elder, who's actually had a very, very good season. But then, I mean, you got who else? Justin Burris has been a disaster at safety for the most part. I think Trey Boston's having a down year, so don't mind that. Jeremy Chin's kind of struggled. He's been flipping from linebacker to slot a bit because Troy Pride, he's struggling. But let those guys develop. They're young. They're rookies. But Dante Jackson hasn't been that good. He's probably been one of their worst corners this season. That's why you got Rasul Douglas out there playing instead of him. So, yeah, pick makes sense to me. And the Falcons get Kwity Paye. I got no argument here. That's a great pick. It's a great pick. Dante Fowler, they haven't really gotten solid returns on him, which I kind of mentioned that if you've been with the channel for a minute when we talked about the Falcons and Dante Fowler specifically, that typically he's a high sack guy, but doesn't necessarily have the pressures to back up being a top pass rusher. So they go ahead. I mean, they gave up on McKinley last week, so getting Kwity Paye, helping that pass rush, it'll help the secondary if they can get the quarterback a bit more efficient. So Paye, great here. And then Caleb Farley to the Broncos. I think I would be very tempted at quarterback here with Trey Lance still on the board. And shoot, even Kyle Trask, who might be more of a John Elway guy, I would be very tempted at quarterback because Drew Lock just doesn't seem like it. But I mean, if you want to give him another year when the team comes back healthy, then all right, you know what? Cool, have your test run. Going corner, I think it makes sense. I think Surtain's a better fit, but he's already gone. Farley, he played primarily in a zone offense for Tech, and he's got press corner traits. I mean, this guy, this is the thing. Elite corner traits out the wazoo for Farley. It's just his 2018 wasn't that great. 2019 was phenomenal. It was stellar. It was amazing. It's what put his name on the map, and then opting out for 2020. It kind of does make things murky. They got their boy Michael Oji Amudia, who he's had his ups and his downs this season. But I mean, again, I don't mind. To me, corner is the most volatile and important position on defense. So it doesn't hurt having many great corners. And then the Patriots, Kyle Pitts. If you know me, I mocked Kyle Pitts recently to the Patriots. But I mean, dude, with Lance, with Trask on the board here, I think that's tough to pass. Especially Lance, I think that's tough to pass up. I think you grab your quarterback. I mean, I get it. You know, Kyle Pitts, he's a stud. I think he's a top 10 pick, a guy that can line up anywhere for your offense, at least as far as inline, slot, or on the outside. But man, I think passing Trey Lance is a big mistake. Then he has the Niners trading up to get Trey Lance. I know y'all could come at me for the Travis Etienne pick. I love the fit. I love the player. I couldn't help myself. But Lance, I think, would make a lot of sense trading up for Lance with Garoppolo. He's really struggled. It's not just his play, but injuries this season. And I mean, he's never really came back healthy this year, unfortunately. But I mean, I think they could definitely justify, especially Krabs mentions here in a run-heavy offense, having that type of athletic upside, because that's what you're getting. That's he's got a cannon, but that athletic upside, no one comes close to it at the quarterback position. On to the Vikings, Wyatt Davis. I love it. It makes sense. It's great pick. I don't know what more to say. This is something I would mock, so I'm on board. Then he's got the Lions getting Devontae Smith. Very interesting. Because I mean, if they can bring back Golladay, which would be fine. But yeah, I think giving him more. I mean, we've seen what the Lions, they like to get them vertical targets. They have Marvin Hall, but I mean, Smith's just a much better version of that. Jones can do that, but I like it. Give Stafford some weapons before you take him out back and send him off. Send him to retirement. Nah, not necessarily. I think Stafford definitely will get another go, but I'm all for that. It'll be interesting with the Lions, depending on what their coaching situation will be. Will they still have oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Guess it's irrelevant. So on to the Bears. They go Christian Darrisaw with Kyle Trask on board. I think that's kind of tough to pass, but Christian Darrisaw, I mean, offensive line's it's a position that definitely needs some addressing. You know what? I buy into him being a top 20, top 15 pick at this point. Above Samuel Cosmi, I don't know about that. But Cosmi, again, while he's super athletic, he does give up a bit. He gives up a bit on his size and his play strength. Darrisaw doesn't do that. So I could see him being the second offensive tackle off. Bears, they can't even run the football efficiently because David Montgomery is a good running back, dude. But when you get hit in the backfield constantly, what can you do? I mean, really, what can you do? I think they should also address receiver in this draft, being such a great receiving class. Because I honestly think Allen Robinson's on his way out. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. So it makes sense to me. And then this one, it interests me. Joseph Osai out of Texas going to the Browns, because I think the Browns would look for a more athletic, like your Kwity Paye or even Jason Owe from Penn State, a more athletic freak type of edge rusher to match up with Myles Garrett. Because, and this is just my opinion, if you go back to Stefanski in Minnesota, he paired up Everson Griffin, who is a big power rusher, with an athletic freak like Danielle Hunter. So I imagine, Myles Garrett, he's your big physical edge rusher. So you might look for that athletic freak. Joseph Osai, he's not going to be the most athletic edge in this class, but he bends the edge extremely well. So, you know what? I got no qualms about that. I think you can maybe get him a little later in the first round. So if they could trade down here, that'd be fine. So, I'm cool with it. And then he's got the Titans going Rashad Bateman. So if we're looking at like potential receivers still on the board here, you got Rondale Moore, of course, Terrace Marshall, who's becoming a hot name as the season goes on, Bateman coming in being that wide receiver 4 in this class, I think it makes sense because he's not athletic as nearly any of the other potential first round prospects, but he separates. He's a great separator. He can do it from the outside. This year he's shown he can do it in the slot as well, because that's kind of Minnesota. That's where they put their receiver 1 is in the slot typically. I think in 2019 he was 3rd in most receptions for 15 plus yards. No, I think it was most receptions where he was targeted on 15 yards or more. Irrelevant. The guy, he's phenomenal at the intermediate and potentially at the deep. So, I mean, if they give up on Corey Davis, okay, it kind of makes sense. I would like to see them get another pass rusher. But, I mean, honestly, the pass rushing class has kind of become more impressive in this class. So, I don't mind them going after a receiver here. So, okay, I'm cool with that. And then the Eagles go Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Makes sense. The guy is phenomenal, dude. He's one of my favorite prospects in here. If you're not new to the channel, I've moved him up to my linebacker 2 in this class. And the Eagles could really use a linebacker. That defense is kind of getting walked on, whether it's in coverage or in the run game. So it makes sense for them to have a potential just pop-off playmaker. I think they kind of hoped Devon Taylor, I think it was Devon Taylor, the guy the linebacker they got out of Colorado, would kind of be like that. He still can. He was a guy that primarily actually played in the slot at Colorado. So, I mean, depending on what they want to do with them, it'll be interesting to see. But, I mean, Koramoah, amazing prospect. Amazing prospect. Then this is where I gotta stop and pause. Jets, he goes Jaylen Mayfield. If you're not new to the channel, you know how I feel a few ways about Jaylen Mayfield, because people always bring up he had a great game against Chase Young. He literally faced Chase Young on a handful of snaps. He gave up, I believe it was 7 pressures to the rest of the Ohio State team. The thing is, he plays right tackle. Typically in college football, you're not facing, like, they're more traditional and they put their most dominant pass rushers on the left side most of the time in college football. And you're probably seeing the second best pass rusher more times than not. That's why he only faced Chase Young a handful of times. He was very inconsistent. He only has 1 year starting experience. I'm glad he came back. Decided not to opt out for the year, and he's actually played particularly well, but it's been against Minnesota, it's been against Michigan State. He's only allowed 2 pressures and a sack. So again, he's been better, but I need to see him against better competition. So I think putting him in the first round for me is a bit prematurely. I know teams like his athleticism, they like his size. I think it's premature. I still have a day 2 grade on the cat. Cardinals, they go corner here. Jace Horn, I'm all about this. This makes sense to me. Jace Horn decided to opt out for the rest of the year, as he proved that he should be a first rounder in this class. I think he's been stellar this season. He's shown, especially recently, more playmaking, more ball skills, but they need a corner too. They've really struggled. That Drake Kirkpatrick was terrible. They tried oh man, who was the other cat? He came from Arizona too. Can't think of his name, but he kind of struggled. He was a rookie. So yeah, just get some help in the coverage. They have Byron Murphy now playing in the slot a little bit. But yeah, grabbing another corner I think would be very, very wise. I know it would be kind of fun to grab more weapons for this offense, but I don't think you need to. And then I love this pick. Travis Etienne going to my Dolphins. I got no qualms about that. You know, they've done great things with Miles Gaskins, but but he is what he is. They have Ahmad, the Washington rookie, starting because Gaskins went down. And he's looked very good also, but they can't touch Etienne. They can't hold a candle to Etienne. This dude's lightning in a bottle. I profess my love to you, Etienne. He's my favorite player in college football right now. The guy, literally, anytime he touches the football, he's a home run threat. So this offense, you grab Etienne, you grab Waddle. I got no problems with that. And then the Colts get Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern. Part of me is like, I think it's a bit early for Slater, and I love Slater. He's one of my dark horses, but he chose to opt out, which I think kind of hurt him. I mean, if you're not familiar with Slater, this guy, he put out 2 banger years at right tackle before moving to left tackle and just being a stud. If you want to use that stupid measuring stick of, well, how do you do against Chase Young? He held his own. He was solid. The dude was in 2019, one of the better, if not best, tackles in all of football. It just surprises me not seeing Samuel Cosmi popping off the board yet, or Alex Leatherwood. And I know Alex Leatherwood, I think he's been solid this year. I don't think he's nearly been as good as he was the year before, but I think he's shown enough where he is much better in the run game, and we know that he's a solid pass protector. So I'm a bit puzzled. I'm a bit surprised to not see him off the board, especially Cosmi too. But the pick makes sense for the Colts with Anthony Costanzo potentially retiring. He's only got 1 year left on the contract. And I mean, Slater, this is a guy that could play guard, he could play tackle, so he's got some nice versatility. And then we got the Raiders getting Jason away. Makes sense. Raiders are probably one of the worst pass rushing teams in all of the NFL. I mean, Cleveland Farrell, I think Farrell might end up being more of a guy they like to kick to the inside. He's actually a better pass rusher from the interior anyway. So away, a guy, again, athletically a stud. He's shown, like, he came back, he's showing why this guy should be a first rounder. And that was the thing actually about a lot of these prospects in the edge class, was they had huge athletic or physical upside, but we needed to see production. And I think some of the biggest rises from that is away and pay. Away and pay. Away and pay. So yeah, makes sense to me. And then Samuel Cosmi finally coming off the board here to the Jaguars. They got Fields, so it makes sense to grab someone that's not Robinson. I mean, Cam Robinson's kind of been up and down. If anything, he's been one of the best run blocking tackles in football. And then last year, that fell off a cliff. He's been much better this year, but I don't think they'll sign him to a long-term deal. So they'll probably get Cosmi to come play on the left side. And you got Devon Taylor, who's kind of having a sophomore slump currently. But it makes sense. I just don't see Cosmi being around for this pick. That kind of puzzles me. And then this is probably the pick I'm most divisive of, is the Buccaneers grabbing Jay Tufele in the first round. I don't think Tufele is a first round talent. I find it hard to justify him as a day 2 guy. You have yet to see Christian Barmore come off the board. And spoiler alert, he doesn't come off in this first round. And that puzzles me. I think undisputedly he is the top defensive interior prospect in this class. I know a lot of people want to say Tufele should at least be a day 2 guy, but dude, I just don't like his play strength. Not to say he's not. It's not that he's. I think he's strong, but you don't see it on the field. He gets walked over in the run game. He decided to opt out. I think he really needed to play this season. I just can't see him going in the first round. Then again, I couldn't see guys like Jordan Brooks and Isaiah Wilson going in the first round either. So I guess I can't really say nothing, you know. So Tufele, this is probably one of the first picks that I'm just like, nah, I ain't about it. And then Bills go Eric Stokes. This is a guy I actually had to have in the first round of my 2022 NFL mock draft. He's been very good. And I mean, in some cases, he's been better than Tyson Campbell, his teammate. I just don't know if he would go off the board before Tyson Campbell here. I have no problems with the Bills addressing the corner 2 position on that squad. So kind of makes sense. Krabs, he kind of talks about Campbell and then brings up Sean Wade here, who has looked much better since getting just absolutely murdered by Jahan Dotson, the Penn State receiver. But Wade, I'm not ready to put back in the first round, man. I want to see more on the outside from him. So Stokes, I got no problems. I think he has the athletic ability to be a first rounder. I think he's got some of those traits. He has excessive experience in press man, which the Bills don't really do that. They do a lot of press zone. But regardless, we'll see. And then the Ravens go Terrace Marshall. Makes sense to me. I think they could use more talented receiver. I don't think Willie Snead should be your leading receiver. Hollywood Brown's kind of, I don't know, man. They invested a very early pick on him, and he's been here and there. So grabbing Marshall, a guy that could slip in the slot. He has excessive experience on the outside from the year before. He is a solid red zone threat, great size and speed, especially if he has a Justin Jefferson type of combine. Definitely see him going to the first round. And then the Green Bay Packers, they go Liam Eichenberg, and I like this pick actually quite a lot because they're replacing Brian Bulaga. They've been having Billy Turner there, and it has not worked. So, I mean, receiver would be fun. It would be nice. I mocked a receiver to him last season. They didn't even draft a receiver. So, I mean, they could go receiver here, but I mean, Eichenberg is a fine pick too. I think he's got a Mitchell Schwartz type of upside, type of ceiling, especially there at the right tackle position. And then the Chiefs go Elijah Vera Tucker, which is very interesting. This is a guy that's been, he's been one of the best pass blocking guards in all of football. And this year, they actually moved him to left tackle, where he's been just phenomenal. He hasn't allowed a pressure a sack through 2 games. Granted, those games have come against Arizona and Arizona State, but still, I like this guy a lot. Extremely athletic. I think it makes sense for the Chiefs to address the interior of their line. I mean, you would like to see them address parts of their defense, but it is what it is. And then the Saints go Dylan Moses out of Bama. Makes sense to me. I know they got Alexander, but he's not a long-term option, at least not with the money that he's owed. So I don't think he'll be on the team after this season. You could say Kyle Trask would be interesting here. I won't dispute you there. They could grab a corner, but Dylan Moses kind of makes sense too. He's an athletic freak. I think that athleticism will get him to the first round. He hasn't been good in coverage this year, but that's maybe something you hope he gets better at. So the Saints, they just grab a guy that could definitely develop into a 3-down linebacker for the defense. And then, actually, this is pretty divisive pick for me too. He has the Steelers getting Hamilcar Rashed Jr. I don't think this guy's a first rounder. He is, I think he's what, 240? He might be sub 240. He offers nothing in the run game. And he has not even been good pass rusher this season. This is a guy, even if you go back to 2019, he had a high sack total, low pressures. He's got a great motor. He's got one pretty pass rush move, and it's a very nice swim move. But he's a liability against the run. You won't be able to keep him on the field against the run. This is a guy you expect to come and replace Bud Dupree if you decide not to resign him. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Even this season through 2 games, he only has 4 pressures on 42 pass rushing snaps, led to no sacks. He's missed 4 tackles over a potential 10 tackles. He's missed 4. Sup? Like, I'm just saying, I think this guy's a day 3 at best, maybe a 4th, 5th rounder. I could definitely see him sneak into day 2, kind of like Alex Highsmith did. But then again, you have Alex Highsmith. You have the same, in my opinion, the same type of player on your roster, except for he has better size. I don't get it. This pick I'm very against. So overall, how I feel about this draft. Let's go ahead and move to the webcam only. How I feel about it. No Alex Leatherwood really puzzles me. No Rondale Moore. I guess I could kind of get. Let's see him play first. His size is a big question mark. He has no snaps on the outside, so I guess you can kind of justify that. But no Christian Barmore. What? Kyle Trask. I think after like this past week, he deserves at least to be a late first rounder. Like, I don't see him not going to the first round at this point. But yeah, I think there might be a Bama biased. I think Darian Kendrick not making it on here either is a bit puzzling. Jay Tufili was just, I don't understand. Someone explain it to me, please explain it to me. But overall, I mean, I like this. I like this type of draft, like mock draft, because you want to experiment. You want to throw names maybe out there that could maybe sneak into the first round that you're personally high on. And like I said, we all have good takes. We all have bad takes. So a lot of my takes here, maybe I'm wrong about Jay Tufili. I know a lot of people feel a lot more comfortable, or they're a lot higher on him. They're a lot more comfortable with him than I am. So, hey, to each their own, you know. But that's all I got for you, and that's it for the video. Go ahead and do that YouTube thing. I think it's been long enough, so I don't know if you stuck with me through the whole thing, but if you did, much appreciated, much obliged. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.